Welcome to Hubbards Journey. We'd like to tell you about Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah.
We got a few things that I think you should know if you go to Juneau, Alaska. I've got one off the top of my head. Number one, when going to not just Juneau, more than likely you'll get into Juneau no problem, and it's a port. It's usually a port that all of the Alaska cruises hit. But my number one is if you are booking an excursion, not through the cruise ship, just make sure it's refundable. Very common to have itineraries
Get canceled.
Canceled, right?
Yeah.
Very common. Because high winds or the seas.
Whether it's a tender or not.
Yeah,
they do get canceled.
Yeah,
Yes.
typically the ones that have tenders do get canceled. Well, we had one that had a pier that got canceled.
Yeah.
You know?
And the winds.
Yeah.
So
what do you think? That was number one that I think people should be aware of. Do you have any input as what?
Well, the other thing I think you need to understand is they're expensive.
They are expensive.
Yes. So you have to budget for them. You can get them independently or through the cruise ship, but either way, they're going to be a little bit more than your typical, if you're used to cruising, your typical Caribbean excursions. And you can't always walk off the ship and find someone doing a tour like you can in the Caribbean. So you have to plan in advance, unless you just plan on touring around the port area.
That's
which
right.
is fine in some cases.
So number two would be dressing, what to wear. What you need to be prepared for, my opinion, and I don't know how you feel, I don't know if you feel the same way, is it gets wet. There's like a dew in the air, kind of like what we see here behind us. It's cloudy, and it does rain. It rains quite a bit there. So just make sure you have like a raincoat and maybe a fleece under the raincoat.
But it also did get warm too.
Oh yeah.
So layers.
Oh yeah, it definitely will
Layers
get warm as well. But you just need to make sure you pack appropriately for it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Juneau, Alaska. And as we're talking about Juneau, Alaska, if something else pops into our head, we'll share that information with you. So in Juneau, Alaska, as I mentioned, it is a pier. You pull into a pier, you pull into a dock. There is no tender or water shuttle, correct?
Correct, yes.
Now, one of the things that you notice when you're coming in, you'll see this big open sea, and there's mountains everywhere. Everywhere. You agree?
I agree, yes.
Sunrise in Alaska. The one thing that hits me anyway in Alaska is how fresh the air is. It's unbelievable. Number one thing I recall with Juneau is the smell of the air. As soon as it was our first port, and it's very, very fresh air. The sunrises are amazing.
They were, even on a cloudy day, these mountains are coming up and they peek in and out of the clouds. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they really are. So the other thing is, for an excursion that's in Juneau, is whale watching. Now we kind of did a little bit. We said, well, listen, maybe we'll see a pod of whales as we're out coming into Juneau.
Because we had a balcony.
And we were like, oh, maybe we'll check that off, and we don't have to do a whale excursion, if you will. Out there, I don't know if you can see, there's 4 or 5 whales right there. They just blew the water up. Right there, see them? Those are all whales.
We just saw some whales. It was in the distance, so it was better to see with the binoculars, but we're trying to get a few on video camera. But it's pretty amazing.
And we lucked out. We saw a pod of whales, right? I mean, it was quite a few.
Yeah, it's not the typical bubble feeding or the breaching kind of that you're used to seeing, but if you're okay with a few spouts and a few maybe flippers or tails kind of here and there off into the distance.
Well, that's what I said. I said to Andrew. I says, "Oh, whoop! Check that box. We saw the whales. We don't have to do a whale excursion."
which
And-
I think we'd like to do at some point. But we've been on them in the New England area before.
But
Not the same, but
yeah, but
yeah.
I guess the point that I'm getting at is I think it would be worth seeing a whale excursion in Alaska. I think it would be.
Mhm.
What do you think?
I think I want to save my money for the next one that I would do.
What's the next one you would do?
Helicopter.
If you look real close up there, there's 1, 2, 3. There were 3 helicopters up there. I think what they do is they fly over the glacier and then they land on it.
We had friends that actually
Touchdown on a glacier.
touched down on a glacier, and they said it was just amazing. They showed us videos. Yep, I think that would be our next excursion. If we go to Juneau, Alaska again, which I think we are.
Yeah, we are.
We are. We're heading there in April.
Again, it's expensive. I think that was a little bit of a shock to us when we first went because we had never been before. But knowing what it would entail, I think it's worth it.
It sounds like it's definitely worth it. But we would have to make sure that it's refundable before we book it, just in case. It's like very doubtful that Juneau would get canceled, but we would do that. So when you're pulling into Juneau, I explained that when you see all these mountain masses and the sunrise, it's really out in the open sea. You think you're there and you're really not there because Juneau is actually a channel.
Cargo ships.
We're starting to come into port. There's 1, 2, 3 ships over there.
Oh, there's a small waterfall right on that side too.
There's a waterfall right there.
Another bigger one.
Another one over here.
Houses down the ways. Oh, we got a couple more ships in port too.
You pull into a channel, and you see the city. You'll see the ports. You'll see other ships. You'll see what else do you see? Waterfalls. You'll see waterfalls on the mountains because you're coming in, and there's mountains on both sides of you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And you see waterfalls, seaplanes coming and going. That's a mode of transportation. Common mode of transportation in Alaska is seaplanes.
Another seaplane. They go one right after another out of here.
You'll see the seaplanes all over Alaska. They're pretty common. Cruise ships, they're going to be docked there. It's a pretty cool port. When you get off of the port, when you get off the actual ship.
We're in Juneau. You can see all the cruise ships lined up. This is our bad boy right here. Andrea should be coming down there somewhere. This is where they get the buses. There she is. She's way down there. You see her waving her hands? Go ahead. Wave your hands. There you are. All right. We're going to head over to Mendenhall. We're going to get on a $2 bus and do this excursion on our own.
You're going to come down, and there'll be an area there. There'll be it's kind of like a park or something right off of the pier area. What we did when we got to Juneau is we did Mendenhall Glacier. Now, Mendenhall Glacier is in fact a tour excursion that the ship offers, and I think you can also get it online through Viator or one of those.
Yeah.
But what we did, we got off the ship, we walked to the bus terminal, public bus station.
Yeah.
And
got a local bus.
Yeah, we got a local bus. That was an experience all by itself, going to the bus terminal. What did it cost us for a ticket? $2?
Oh, it was very minimal.
It was
very
$2.
Minimal.
It was $2.
I thought it was a little more than that, but
no,
regardless, you're on the bus for a long time though too. So you're in and off with a lot of different various stops, in and out of different parts of the city.
That's a good point, because when you're on, keep in mind you're on a public bus, and people use public transportation, and you'll see people coming and going off of the bus, and it takes a while to get there. That was a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't stop there. When we get to the stop,
Still have to walk.
We still have to walk. We walked about a good mile or two to get to Mendenhall Glacier. We got to Mendenhall Glacier.
And then you still walk
and you're still walking because you got to walk through the whole entire park.
if you want to.
And
I
we
mean,
purchased
we wanted to do that.
a ticket to enter the park, but I don't think you needed to. Nobody was really watching it.
Yeah, but I think you need to. Typically, I think it just happened to be a day that was very quiet.
Maybe.
That we got there in between some tours and things.
Yeah, we did it. I mean, it wasn't a lot of money. So we purchased a ticket. Really didn't, like I said, nobody watched it or anything. We went in through the glacier. It was pretty amazing because it shows you where the glacier used to be. And if you look at the stone.
Evidence of the glacier written in stone. So that glacier was all the way over here at one point. And you could see the marks on the stone. It's receded all the way back up into there.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
It's like a blue ice.
I mean, what'd you see on the stone? It was like etching.
Yeah, carvings and different kind of sediments and things like that blended into the rock.
All right, we're Mendenhall Glacier. The glacier is blue. It's crazy. Goes all the way back there. It's all ice. All right, Nugget Falls at Mendenhall Glacier.
What'd you get out of Mendenhall Glacier? What was your takeaway?
Didn't realize it you see it in the distance and it doesn't look that big, but then you get up close to it and it is enormous. I remember at one point Michael was walking ahead of me and there's Nugget Falls, which again looks small and it's enormous, and he was way up ahead of me and I took a picture because he looks so tiny in comparison to this enormous thing. And then at another time we were taking some video footage and there was helicopters going over the top of the glaciers and they looked like birds. They were so tiny.
We have that in the video. On one of those helicopters was a friend of ours we just talked about. When we got back to dinner, we showed him the helicopters. That's a good takeaway because I think you're right. The waterfalls are huge. The glacier's huge. I mean, and the colors, the blue ice. Oh my God, the glacier was unbelievable. My take from Mendenhall Glacier was...
You can't get super close to it though.
No, you
can't get that close to
unless
the glacier
you're in a helicopter.
itself. Exactly. So you're still seeing it from a distance.
Yeah.
There's a little lake there and yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, for what we did, it cost us literally about $4, $5 to get there. And we got lucky because it was kind of raining. As I mentioned in the beginning, it can rain at any time.
And then it stopped.
We had this young lady that actually migrated from Iran to Alaska when the Shah had left years and years ago. And when we were walking out of the 2-mile walk that we were about to embark on.
She saw us there.
She saw us. She turned around. She's, hey, you want to ride to the bus station?
She knew
please. Give us a ride.
She knew we were going to the bus stop. Yeah.
Great person.
She was really nice.
Great person. It was helpful. Trust me.
Yeah.
And then we waited for the bus. Got back on the bus. Headed back to town.
Yeah.
We got to town.
So that was the other thing too. By the time we arrived back at town, a lot of the establishments, the stores and things were closed. So a lot of stuff closes early. You have to be mindful of that. So if you want to do a lot of shopping, if that's something that's interesting to you, then you might want to do it ahead of time. And although I've been told, we haven't been there, but I've been told that the better stop for souvenirs and things like that is Ketchikan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and that was another good point, that things close early too. But we got there. I mean, they've got nice totem poles. You see totem poles throughout the town. There was a Tracy's Crab Shack. Tracy's Crab Shack tourist spot. We didn't go in.
No. Other people have done it.
Dicey for
Other
us,
people
but
have done it
a lot
before.
of people do it.
We again, coming from the New England area, we have some great seafood.
We
So
do have great seafood in New England.
I think if we were someone who was coming from
Midwest or
like
something,
Midwest in the
we'd
U.S.
be
or
there.
something like that, I definitely think it's worthwhile to get the experience because it is well known and they are huge. They're very big.
Exactly, exactly. So there was Tracy's Crab Shack, and then there was a Red Onion Bar.
Oh, the saloon there?
The saloon.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
That is a correction. It is the Red Dog Saloon.
Another tourist area that you can go into just walking around town. So if you never take the Mendenhall Glacier that we're talking about, where we took the public bus for small money, lots of walking involved.
Yeah.
You could just get off the ship and just walk
Around
town.
the port area.
Yeah, you could walk around town and really have a good time just doing that.
Yeah.
It's a really pretty cool setup.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But we did end up going into one of the bars there. What was the bar? Was it the local bar that we ended up going
that was a
into?
local one that we went into,
Yeah,
which was kind of cool. It had us set up for like musicians, which they weren't anyone playing at the time.
Yeah.
But there was like stickers and graffiti all over the walls and posters, and it was very interesting.
Yeah, it was cool.
Cute.
What we like is we do go to the touristy places, but if we can get into a local place that kind of looks like a hole in the wall, we kind of like those places. At least I do. I mean,
Yeah.
You kind of just tag along with me when we go.
Oh, I typically do just tag along.
Yeah, but you have a great time when we do it.
Oh yeah, I do. Absolutely. I'm a better follower than a leader, anyways.
Yeah. Well, you do a great job following. I wouldn't be able to do any of it without her. So I think that's our wrap up of Juneau. So the only thing, unless you want to add anything else about Juneau?
No, I have nothing to add. I think that we had a great time.
I think that's a wrap for us. So the excursions in Juneau would be whale watching, dog sled, clam bake, and the helicopter.
Sounds about right.
We hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for coming along.